Hello, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Thank you so much for joining us for this webinar this morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. So I'm here with Amanda Rosenberg from Student Housing, and we're going to give you a little presentation on housing and meal plans. Amanda, would you like to introduce yourself before we move on?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Rosenberg. I'm the Supervisor of Residence Admissions and Customer Service here at McGill. We are really excited not only to present to you all the information that we have here today about housing, but also hopefully to be able to just welcome you to the greater McGill community. So we're going to basically dive right in a couple of seconds, and we're going to be really excited to present everything to you, but also to hear any questions that you might have for us at the end as well.
Thank you so much. Let's see. So I'll just explain a little bit how we'll run the presentation today. So do note that you have the opportunity to ask questions as we go. There's a Q&A button at the top of your screen, so you can head to that Q&A, type in any questions that you have that occurred to you throughout the presentation. We may take a few as we go if they're in line with what Amanda is presenting, but otherwise we'll kind of read out all of your questions and answer them at the end of the presentation. And just so you know, also this presentation is being recorded and the recording will be made available to you. So you'll be able to refer back to the presentation if you forget anything or if you have questions later on. Before we go any further as well, we'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. So this is a practice that we do often here in McGill, here in Canada, just to acknowledge the significance of the land that we're on, even if we are meeting each other virtually today. McGill University is on land which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange amongst Indigenous peoples, including the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe nations. We acknowledge and thank the diverse Indigenous peoples whose presence marks this territory on which peoples of the world now gather. So this is really important for you to know about the land McGill is on as you come here and make this land your home as well. And if you'd like more information, please do feel free to check out the McGill University Indigenous Initiatives website, as well as the website nativeland.ca. And I'll pass it over to Amanda for some information about housing.
Thank you so much. So I'm also just going to toggle my camera off, even though I am still here. I promise you can still hear me. It's just so that my screen can be bigger and you can see a little bit more of our agenda. So I am going to go through this not too quickly, but I am going to go through it a little bit quickly because I want to make sure that we leave as much time at the end as possible for questions. The presentation is going to go until about 10:30, 10:40, and then we'll leave the rest of the time for questions. So bear with me. But again, if you do have any questions and you want to put them in the chat right away, you are very welcome to do so. So a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. So the first one is why choose McGill Residences. And really, here's where we're going to talk about not only the buildings themselves, but also a little bit about our community. We're going to go over the different housing options. So depending on what kind of student you are, whether you're a first-year undergraduate student, a graduate student, an exchange student, or an upper year student, we'll go over all of our different options. Talk a little bit about our residence life team. So that's the team that does a lot of the community engagement, our support, and a lot of the fun activities that we have for our resident students as well. Talk about meal plans and which buildings have them as compulsory requirements and what are all the benefits of having a meal plan when you're living in residences. A little bit about what the housing admissions process is, and it's incredibly simple, but we're going to walk you through it. And then what to do if you have any special accommodations that you need to let us know about ahead of time as well. So first and foremost, actually, we're going to talk about the housing options first. So we're going to go into the housing options right away. So for all of our students, regardless of whether you are a first-year undergraduate student, a graduate student, an exchange student, we've got a type of building for you. In residences for the upcoming year, we've got 4 different types of options. The first one being dormitory, then we've got our modern dormitory. These are converted hotels. And then we've got our shared housing, which are those beautiful stone brick houses that are scattered throughout the downtown campus. And then we've got a couple of budget-friendly options, both downtown and at the McDonald campus as well, that we're going to go over. So the first is our dormitory style building. We have a number of different options. Those include the upper residences, namely Molson, McConnell, Gardner, and Douglas Hall. We've got Royal Victoria College, and we've got University Hall. Now, the biggest component that defines the dormitory style building is that they are primarily single occupancy rooms. That is, that you have your own private bedroom, and then you share the bathroom with other students on the floors. Now for RVC, there are two different wings. So there's what we call the tower wing, which has 12 floors in it and a little over 200 students. And in that building, it's about 12 students per floor, give or take, and you share the bathroom with the other students on that floor. And the tower is mixed gender. So that is to say, female and male identifying students live in their own private rooms, but then share the bathrooms on those floors. Then we have what we call the West Wing, which is our all female identifying wing. So those are students who have identified as female who live in that wing. And again, private bedroom, but then they share the bathroom with the other students that are on those floor. Again, all female identifying students. In University Hall, that is one of our uh, most pride and joy buildings because it's actually a converted church that we use now as residences and we have for quite a few years. This building, again, primarily single rooms, and you share the bathroom with mixed gendered students on the floors. For both of these buildings, we also have what we call the mandatory all you care to eat meal plan, which we will go into at a later time. But to know that there's a number of benefits, both of which exist in these buildings, but that also exist in any of our buildings. The reason that we're going over the specifics of each building is just so that you can get as much information as you need. In order to make the decisions that you want and how you're going to rank your buildings when we get to the application. Both of these buildings are also incredibly close to campus. Royal Victoria College is about a 5-minute walk from campus, and University Hall 5 minutes more. So you're never walking more than 10 minutes to get to campus. Then we've got our upper residences. So again, we've got Molson, McConnell, Gardner Halls, and Douglas Hall. These are, again, primarily single rooms, and all of these are mixed gendered washrooms. So that is, again, to say that every student shares the bathroom with the students that are on their floors, and the bathrooms are made up of male and female identifying students. They're also included in the all you care to eat meal plan, and there's cafeterias in Bishop Mountain Hall, which is a central building that accommodates the McConnell, Molson, Gardner, and Douglas students. And then we also have a smaller cafeteria in Douglas Hall as well, which you can see at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Again, the rooms are simple in their design in that they are for single occupancy accommodations rather than doubles, although there are doubles that do exist. And a double, when we say a double, that means two students living in one room. And we do have a few of those in both upper residences, Douglas Hall, Royal Victoria College, and University Hall, but they are not quite as common. Douglas Hall is also what we call one of our quiet residences. So we've got Douglas Hall and then the Pine House buildings and the University building, so our shared buildings that you'll see in a few seconds. These are quiet residences because they have the expectation that students are going to be slightly more studious and they'll be less, we'll call it rambunctious than maybe some of our other buildings where we more encourage socializing and, the typical things that university students do. And then we've also got our modern dormitory style buildings. So these are 3 buildings that we purchased from McGill University a few years ago, and these are converted hotels that we now operate as dormitories. The big commonality with these buildings is that they are primarily double rooms with private bathrooms within the rooms, and the rooms themselves are single gender. So if you are female identifying, you would be paired with another female identifying student. Same thing for male identifying students. There's no shared bathrooms in these buildings. And while most of the rooms are double occupancy, so again, that means 2 people in each room, there are some rooms that are single occupancy as well. So Care for Sherbrooke, it's our most affordable modern dormitory building. And again, primarily double rooms, but you've got everything in the building from the cafeteria. You've got a phenomenal gym that we just opened up last year, which is a lot of fun for our students, incredibly close to campus, and has a front desk where we would be able to assist you with anything from packages to maintenance issues in the building, anything like that. And what's great about this is that you kind of have a built-in buddy with you right away when you move in, because again, they're mostly double rooms. And just like the traditional dormitory style buildings, all of the modern dormitory style buildings, so that is again to say Care for Sherbrooke, Le Citadel, and New Residence Hall, all have the mandatory all you care to eat meal plan as well. Then we've got Le Citadel. So Le Citadel is our newest building. So it's the most modern of the 3 buildings that we have available. And it's also one of the smaller buildings. So there's only 300 students that live in that building. And I know what you're thinking, well, 300 doesn't sound like a lot, but wait till we get to New Res. So what's fun about Le Citadel is that while there isn't a cafeteria in the building, students that live in Le Citadel have the option to go to either Care for Sherbrooke, New Residence Hall, any of our other buildings that have a cafeteria, and you're welcome to go to any of those and use your all you care to eat meal plan. Another couple of fun facts about the Citadel, while it is primarily double rooms again with the private bathroom, there's also a number of modern facilities that exist in that building, like the on-site gym. There's a small cafe that we manage in the building. There's a ton of common rooms and spaces for you to be able to study or meet or socialize, anything like that. And it's an incredibly tall building, so you're going to get some of the most beautiful views anywhere in Montreal. Like all of our other buildings, it also has a front desk, and we have our protection services that work in this building as well. And lastly, for our modern buildings, we've got New Residence Hall. This is our largest residence community by far, with nearly with 750 students currently living in there right now. It has a huge lobby, a beautiful patio, and it's an incredible community where you can meet people not only from, the greater Montreal area, but also students that live in New Residence Hall are from all over the world, just like all of our buildings. It's got a new fitness center and a new games room that we've opened up in the last year as well. 24-hour front desk, and it has dining in a huge dining room in the building as well. Another fun fact about New Residence Hall is that directly located underneath it is a shopping center. So it's incredibly convenient for students who maybe need to do or want to do groceries. There's a pharmacy down there. There's a movie theater down there. So you really have this whole underground community or network that exists within that building as well. So you get a lot more bang for your buck. And again, the three buildings, so New Residence Hall, Care for Sherbrooke, and Le Citadel, all have the mandatory meal plan. And so you do have cafeterias that you have access to with phenomenal food that we will talk about in a few. And then for first year undergraduate students, another option that we have available is our shared housing. So we've got a couple of houses on Pine. That is to say, we've got 506 Pine, 510 Pine, and 522 Pine. We also have 3601 University and 3653 University. All of this information, by the way, is all available on our website. You can see the different nuances of the different buildings. These are all single rooms, and you have shared bathrooms within the building. So these are quite literally houses, and that houses that we've purchased and we've done some upgrades to. So it's basically like living at home, except instead of having your parents there, you've got a lot of new siblings that are going to be living with you. These are also what we consider to be quiet residences because of the smaller nature of their communities. The smallest building that we have is 510 Pine. That one has about 10 to 13 students, depending on the configuration that we choose for that year. And then our largest one is 3653 University, which has anywhere between 27 to 30 students in the building. So it really depends. You have a lot of agency to kind of give your preferences about what the buildings are that you're interested in, what type of community you're interested in, and what type of living environment is important to you as well. So these don't have front desks because, again, they're smaller houses, but we do have Royal Victoria College, which acts as the front desk of that building. But just like all of our other buildings, we also have roaming what we call protection service agents or security agents who go to all of our buildings to ensure the safety, well-being, and community engagement of our buildings are being maintained as well. Now, for all of our buildings, we have the mandatory meal plan except for the shared houses and Solon Hall. So if you do live in any of our shared houses, then you don't have the mandatory meal plan. So most of the students who live in these buildings will do their own cooking. This is a great opportunity for students who have very severe dietary restrictions, severe allergies, or just know that they're really good cooks and want to be able to do their own cooking. It's also a great space if you have, any need to either protect your own physical health because of any food related allergens, but also if you want to be able to, share your cooking skills or your family recipes with other members of the community within this house. So for those students who have more financial concerns about living in residences, which we do understand, we do have two budget-friendly options. So we've got one, which is Solon Hall, and Solon Hall is actually, fun fact, a converted chocolate factory that has been operating as sort of a mixed building for quite a few years now. So we've got first-year undergraduate students, graduate students, up-year students, and most importantly, exchange students that live in this building, which makes it a really dynamic environment for students. And because it's an apartment building, so that is to say you would have your own private room, we'd be sharing a 2, 3, or 4 bedroom apartment with other students. It's a great way to be able to not only have that transition to sort of more independence that you would have when you're living on your own in Montreal, but also still a really great way to be part of the greater residences and McGill community as well. We also have Laird Hall, which is our most budget-friendly option. but with the caveat being that it's at the McDonald campus. So for anybody that's here today that is interested in learning about the McDonald campus, we are going to talk about it a very small amount, but we do operate very independently at the McDonald campus than we do for the downtown campus. For those of you who maybe don't know, the McDonald campus is our campus that's located at St. Anne de Bellevue, which is primarily for the agriculture, farm technology, and other faculties that I can't remember right now for some reason, but those are the big two. And so for those students who are going to be studying most downtown programs, if you are interested in living in McDonald campus, we encourage it, but just be aware that it is about a 45-minute commute. And there are multiple ways that you can get to and from the McDonald campus and the downtown campus. So we talked a little bit about Solon Hall, but I'd like to go into it a little bit more, especially for our first year students, because it is an option when you are going to be ranking your buildings. So some things that are important to know, it's about a 15-minute commute. It's not located right on campus. It's located in an area of Montreal that we call St. Henry, and it's about 4 metro stops away. So depending on the time of year, I'll usually tell everybody, give yourself an extra 10 minutes in the winter for the commute than you would in the summer. But it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get from Solon Hall to the downtown campus. We have a number of really beautifully renovated apartments in there. So it's phenomenal for students who are looking for a little bit more independent living, but still, again, want to be able to have access to that shared communal space and be part of the greater McGill community as well. And for students that live in Solon Hall, because again, it's an apartment building, there's no mandatory meal plan. And then for Laird Hall, this is a dormitory style building. So similar to what we just saw for upper residences like McConnell, Molson, and Gardner, Laird Hall, you would have your own private room, although there are double rooms that are available in the building. And then it's shared mixed gender bathrooms on the floors. Again, no meal plan. And because it's located, again, a little bit farther away from campus, we do have our own patrollers and McGill affiliated security that works at that campus and in all of those buildings in order to better support our students. But just like the downtown residences, we also have our own set of community and staff that work out there who make sure that all students that are living at the MAC campus still have access to the greater resources that are available at McGill. Now, for all of our buildings, whether you're a first-year incoming undergraduate student, whether you're a graduate student, whether you've already studied at a different university and are now coming to McGill, or if you're here on exchange, all of our students are or do have access to our community support. So we have 2 ways that we do that. The first is we offer peer support, and we call these folks that work in all of our residences, and here in our administrative offices, we call them Res Life facilitators. These folks are current or either first or second year McGill students who have lived in residences and who help design and implement a lot of the events and services that we offer in residences. We've found over the years that students want to hang out with students, and you want to have events that are organized by students, because who knows better what it is that you're interested in doing and learning than you yourselves. And so we have a lot of peer organized events, and it's also a really great way for students to be able to get involved in residences, to be involved in administrative councils, and just to demonstrate a lot of leadership opportunities as well. And so this is the first way that we engage with our students in residences. But we also have additional support that we offer our students in residences as well. We have what we call a local wellness advisor. So the university has local wellness advisors for different faculties. So if you're in the Faculty of Arts or if you're in the Faculty of Management, there's local wellness advisors for the faculties, but we also have one specifically for students in residences. One of the reasons being that we have more than 3,000 students in residences that are made up of students from all over the world, from all different walks of life, from so many different backgrounds, that we want to be able to offer something uniquely for students who are going through the residence experience. The other thing that we offer specifically to our resident students is we have our own registered dietitian who is available to be able to meet with students, to help navigate the meal plan, to help navigate the different options that we have in our cafeterias, and also to offer any support that any of our students might have in being able to find food that meets their dietary requirements. And that can go for anything relating to allergies or religious-based dietary needs. And so we'll talk about the meal plans in a few seconds, but it's just to know that those types of support systems are available for our students that are living in residences. Now, For the mandatory meal plan, because this is something that we do get a lot of questions about, so I want to focus very much on this for a few seconds, or for a few minutes rather. So for all of our students that are living in any of the traditional dormitory buildings, so again, Molson, McConnell, Gardner, Douglas, University Hall, and Royal Victoria College, as well as the modern dormitory residences. So that would be La Citadel, Carrefour Sherbrooke, and New Residence Hall. You have what we call the mandatory all you care to eat meal plan. The reason that we call it all you care to eat instead of all you can eat is because we're not here trying to challenge you to eat us out of house and home. It really is, you can go into the cafeteria, you can eat as much as you want, you can go back for seconds, thirds, fourth, whatever you want, and then you only pay one time when you go into the cafeteria. And it's not a pay as you go, it really is a declining balance. So every time that you go into the cafeteria, you swipe your card and then you have unlimited access to the food that we have available to you. Most of our cafeterias offer the same food, regardless of the building that you go to, and students can access any of the cafeterias. So if you live, for example, in New Residence Hall, but you've got some good friends that live in Gardner and you want to go and eat at Bishop Mountain Hall, you're welcome to do so. And your friends that live in Gardner can come and eat in the cafeteria with you at New Residence Hall, and it's the exact same price. The only times that there's different prices are if it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we do offer different meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some other things that we offer in residences as well is we do offer food that meets a number of dietary needs. So that could be anything from gluten-free. We offer vegan, vegetarian, halal, and kosher options as well. And while we can't necessarily guarantee that we can manage all dietary needs, we do have, like I said, our staff dietitian who's there to help navigate all of the cafeteria and food options that we have, and also to try and figure out what we can offer you that would be able to meet your dietary needs or goals. We also have a lot of nutritious food, so we try and keep everything as balanced as possible. And a lot of our produce is actually grown at the McDonald campus that we use in our residences and cafeterias as well. So we've got everything from delicious home cooked food to some more comfort options to quick grab and eat it quickly before you head off to class options. And so there is something for everybody, and we do our best to try and meet the dietary needs of our students. And you can notify us of any major dietary allergens or restrictions that you have when you're applying for residences as well, so that we can try and navigate that even before you move into residences. And for all of our students, so regardless of whether or not you have the all you care to eat meal plan, or if you're living in buildings like our shared houses or Solon Hall, we also have what we call OneCard Flex. And so that's for students who live with the mandatory meal plan. And we've got a regular OneCard account, which is for everybody else. These are phenomenal ways for you to basically have an all access meal plan pass that you can use anywhere on campus. So we've got a number of different places that you can use them, both in the food service locations on campus, like the cafeterias, but we also have a couple of independent restaurants that operate on campus as well that you can use there. These can also be used on most of the vending machines throughout campus as well. So if you're running between classes and you just need a snack or something to top you up, you can use your OneCard dollars for that. And then most enjoyably, you can also use them at the campus store. So when you're starting your year, you can use them to buy whatever supplies you need for the start of the year. You can also stock up on them throughout the year. It can also be used for things like the bookstore that exists within the campus store. So if you want to do some light reading in between all of your other reading, you can buy books there. And most importantly, it's a great way for you to be able to buy swag that you can send home with mom and dad at the start of the year too. So now that we've given you sort of a big picture about what we offer in residences, how do you go about applying for housing? So the first part was when you first applied to McGill, you were able to indicate whether or not you were interested in residences on your application. If you did not do that, not a problem at all. You can just send us a quick email and we can help you out with that. So our contact information is going to be at the end of the presentation, and I'll leave that up on the slide so that you can all take note of that, but it's also all available on our website. So if you did indicate that you were interested in housing, then right now you should be able to have access to the housing application. And you do all of this through Minerva. So I know a lot of folks who have been applying to the university have been going through Slate and, oh, pardon me, not to throw a lot of different applications out for you, but for housing and for a number of different services that we offer here at the university, you also have to go through Minerva. And so Minerva is where you're going to be able to complete your application, specifically for housing. So the application is in three parts. The first part is where you're going to read the room and board agreement. And the room and board agreement just gives you basically the parameters of the regulations for living in residences. And it lets you know what the cancellation policies are if you do apply for residences, but then need to cancel. The second part is you're going to rank your building options. So all of our applications are submitted to us, and then the way that housing is assigned is through a lottery. So it's not a first come, first serve. You don't have to, if you have not yet applied, you're not hindered in any way or shape or form. As long as you complete your application before the deadline, which this year is going to be June 14th, with the lottery running on June 16th. We just posted it on our website, and we're going to send out constant reminders about this as well. So nobody, again, is going to be disenfranchised if you apply at the very last minute versus applying now. There's no difference. So after you've ranked your buildings, we're going to ask you a short questionnaire, and this is where we want to find out a little bit more of your preferences. And this is in the event that you are assigned to a double room, so that we can do our best to make sure that your roommate is the best possible option for you so that you can live and cohabitate successfully together throughout your first year. After that, you go into the lottery, and then following the lottery, you'll find out what building and room type you've been assigned. You'll find out your specific room number only when you move in. But following the lottery, you'll be able to find out, for example, that you've been assigned to a new residence hall double room. And then from there, you can join a number of online communities that we have for you to be able to meet with some of your new friends and colleagues, and get to meet with some of the folks ahead of arriving as well, which does tend to help a lot of students, because this can be a really exciting but also a nerve-wracking process, and we want to try and make it as seamless for you as possible. So once you've been entered into the lottery, if you do have any accessibility related requests, before you complete your application, or before you run the lottery, or before we run the lottery rather, is when we would ask that you let us know about that. So accessibility requests, when we say that, because again, we have students from all over the world, I want to make sure that what an accessibility request is clear. This can be anything from physical accommodations that you need. So, you need to be on a lower floor or a higher floor, a building with elevators or stairs. If perhaps you might need to have your own private washroom, anything like that. But it could also be things like financial constraints, religious accommodation, anything that you think we should be aware of, so that we can take that into consideration and either assign you manually, or make sure that after the lottery you are assigned into a space that meets your needs. Now, we can't necessarily guarantee that everybody's going to be able to get what it is that they need or want, but we will always do our best. One thing that you don't need to tell us about on the special accommodations is if you are a scholarship winner, then you will automatically be guaranteed one of your top 3 building choices. So if you enter into the university and you've accepted a scholarship, either a major renewable or any entrance scholarship, you will be guaranteed one of your top 3 choices. And then once you find out what your room assignments are throughout the summer, if you meet new folks in any of these online communities, or even if it's just your best friend from back home and the two of you want to be roommates together, we would be so happy to put roommates who want to be together. And we do have a form on our website where we invite students who want to be roommates to do so. Our only requirements are that you're assigned to the same building and that you both agree. So we need both of the roommate requests to come in. If only one of you requests it, we can't do so. But again, all of this information is available on our website, and we can also answer any questions if you want to get in touch with us. Now, after your first year of living in residences, if you loved it so much, which I anticipate you all will, and you want to return, we do offer housing for upper year students and for graduate students. Now, the overall majority of our students will choose to move into the greater Montreal area after their first year of residences, because Montreal is such a student-friendly city and there's always apartments or other accommodations that are available. But a lot of our students choose to remain in residences because of the convenience of it, especially because you don't have to go apartment hunting. You can get an apartment that's already fully furnished, all of your utilities. So that is to say your heat, hot water, electricity, Wi-Fi, everything's included as one package. So a lot of students do tend to choose to live in residences for their second and third year. And we do offer a number of graduate housing accommodations as well, both for individuals, but we also offer family housing and couple housing as well. And again, all available on our website. And so that's it for me in terms of the general information about residences. So before we open up for questions and things like that, I'm just going to pass it back to Amy.
Hello, thank you. Yes, so I'm sure you found a lot of that information from Amanda helpful. It's great to sort of know what to expect in terms of housing and all the options available to you. And we have a lot of other sessions coming up. If you have questions about other aspects of housing, Amanda will be back actually to give a renting in Montreal presentation on April 2nd, and a lot of other sessions about different topics of kind of preparing for your time at McGill, from financing your education, immigration essentials if you're coming to McGill from another country, working in Canada. We have a student panel coming up actually next Friday, where you'll get to hear from a lot of current students about things they wish they'd knew before coming to McGill, drop in immigration advising and accessing healthcare. So many great things coming up. Make sure to check those out in the applicant portal, and you'll be able to join us for more upcoming sessions. And so you'll be able to reach out to us from Campus Life and Engagement as well. So you'll hear more and more from us actually as you kind of start preparing for your time at McGill. Campus Life and Engagement is really the office that's here to help you transition throughout the summer, get everything you need to get ready. So on that note, you'll be able to go to our website, mcgill.ca/get ready, for more information about all the topics that are in the upcoming sessions, everything from housing and meals to finances to campus life. And you can also reach out to us with any general questions that you might have at our dedicated email firstyear@mcgill.ca. You can also call our Ask McGill Student Navigator team for any general questions that you have about McGill. And you can follow us on social media or also join the incoming student Facebook group if you haven't done that yet. So that's a great community for you to, once you've accepted your offer, you'll be eligible for this group, I believe. So you can join and then you can, yeah, start connecting with each other in preparation for your arrival. So I guess we'll head over to, well, do you want to talk about your contact information and then we'll check out the Q&A, Amanda?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the best way to reach out to us. So you can always drop if you are in the greater Montreal area and you want to drop in and see us in person. I'm more than happy to meet with all of our students in person. But otherwise, you can always give us a phone call. So you can either call us directly through the downtown phone number, which is the main number, or if you have specific questions for McDonald campus, you can call them directly as well. And for both the downtown and McDonald campus, for any questions or any accommodation requests, our email address is that's on the website, right? Or that's on our screen right now, or a ton of information on our website. And I know that this is a webinar, but I also just want to invite everybody, if you are in Montreal or planning on coming to Montreal for next weekend, we are also doing an in-person event. It's called Meet McGill, and it's going to be on the 21st with registration still open, I believe, on the website. So if you are interested in being able to talk to us in person or ask any questions in person, or if you really loved this presentation and you want to see it again, but in person, you are so welcome to come and join us next weekend. But otherwise, basically for the next 25 odd minutes, we are here to answer any and all questions that you have about residences, about moving to Montreal, about anything else that we can potentially help you with that is residence meal plan related. So please feel free to start asking questions. You can either, I mean, if you want to use the Q&A function, that would be the best way to reach out to us.
Yeah, so we've got already a lot of great questions in the Q&A. So I'll go ahead and start reading some of them out for you, Amanda. So first of all, we've got a bunch of questions about meal plans. People are curious about food. So first of all, can the meal plan still be accessed even if living off campus?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't have it available as an immediate thing for students to purchase because we know that not too many students who live off campus want the meal plan. But absolutely. So if you are planning on being on campus, even if it's, just to be able to eat lunch every day, it comes out to about $14, let's say, per meal. But again, it's an all you care to eat. So you can go in and you can really, have your 3 meals in one meal if you want to do that and really get your money's worth. So absolutely, students who live off campus can absolutely purchase the all you care to eat meal plan. To register for it, again, just send us a quick email. And when you do email us, just make sure that you include your name and your McGill ID number.
Okay, let's see. So I'm having a little technical problem actually with the Q&A, which keeps um, disappearing and coming back, but I've noted a few questions and hopefully it's going to reload quickly for us here. Another question about meals is people were wondering, kind of as an example, what kind of food is available for different meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Absolutely. so let's start with breakfast. So we've got again, all of our meals we offer vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options. But for the most part, a breakfast would be anywhere from, I wish I had opened up our menu. We also have all of our menus, by the way, available on our website too. So if you want to see what a sample week might look like, you can always visit our website. And under the food and dining page, you'll see on the left-hand side, there's a menu, or there's a menu. And then within that, you can see our menus for our daily meals. But for example, a day would be like, scrambled eggs, hashed ground potatoes, sausages, bacon. But then we also have a griddle. So you can also have, if you want to make sure that your food is kosher, halal, or doesn't touch any meat, we also have options for that. So we've got vegan and vegetarian French toast options, pancake options. But then also we've got a cereal bar. So it doesn't always have to be a big, heavy meal. It can just be cereal or fruit. And juices and coffee, whatever you can imagine, sort of at like a standard buffet breakfast type of thing. For lunch, we've got, again, it changes every day, but we always have a salad bar. So students can just grab something light if they want to pick and choose what they want to design for themselves. And then we also have hot options. So we've got anything from, your main protein. So that can be, we try to stick to, simple things at the beginning of the year, and then we sort of evolve with what our students are requesting as the year progresses. But you can have anything from, let's say, baked chicken to fried chicken to sometimes we have salmon fillets, sometimes we've got beef and adobo. We've got a lot of different sauce options as well. And then you've got your starches. So we'll sometimes have fried rice, sometimes roasted potatoes, sometimes baked potatoes. Some days we do themes. So I know recently we did, because it's March here, it's March everywhere. It's March 13th here. And this is the time of year where we do something called cabane à sucre. So we do a lot of maple related content here. Canadians are, I know we're known for being nice, but we're also sugar fiends. And so we do a lot of maple related content. So right now we've got, I think last week we did brunch was basically the daily theme. And we had a lot of brunch things for lunch. And that's always a lot of fun. And then dinner is really based on whatever it is that is the theme of the day. So sometimes it'll be, steaks or salads or sandwiches, or sometimes we'll do a Japanese theme. Sometimes we'll do a Caribbean theme night, whatever it is that sort of inspires the head chefs that we have, but also our students. And we will always have a protein, a starch, and a vegetable, and some combination of them. But we'll also have simple things like sandwiches, burgers, things like that that students love. And always desserts. There's always desserts.
We love that. And so just a question about the price. So do all the meals cost the same, breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
No, they're different prices. Breakfast is always the cheapest, dinner is always the most expensive, but it's usually something like $12.95, $14.95, $15.95. Again, cheaper than you would if you were to go out for any meal, basically anywhere. So, and again, because it's all you care to eat, you pick and choose how much you want to make of whatever it is that you're paying.
And just a clarification about what it means all you care to eat. The question is, can you go to a cafeteria as many times as you want per day?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to go more than 3 times a day, there's no limit to the amount of times that you can go, and there's no limit to the amount that you can eat whenever you go.
Let's see. Also, people were wondering a little bit about options for fridges. So for example, the question was, if I'm living in Laird Hall, can I have a mini fridge? And are mini fridges allowed in other residences?
So fun fact, we actually provide mini fridges in most of our rooms. So for the most part, I think the only buildings where we don't have mini fridges in the rooms are the shared houses. And that's because you have full kitchens that have multiple large size fridges. But in all of upper residences, all of the traditional dormitory style buildings, you do have your own mini fridge in the room. And that's where you can keep either any of your own personal items that you want to have just for yourself, but you can also keep some of your food there. What I will say is that for the double rooms, it's only one fridge. So it's one fridge that's shared between 2 students. But and especially for students who have medication or any personal items that you need to keep refrigerated, all of our buildings have that.
Thank you. Another quick question about just what the dining halls are equipped with. People are wondering, do they have heat and AC? Particularly a question about Laird Hall.
So, I mean, all of the dining halls have heat and AC, absolutely. The buildings themselves, so the traditional dormitory buildings don't have AC in them. The hotel style buildings do have AC. We are working on upgrading those. So we're actually doing quite a few renovations in upper res this year to try and, I don't know if we're going to get the full AC, but to try and start the process of getting them. Unfortunately, a lot of our buildings are Heritage McGill buildings. So Douglas Hall, which you can see, I don't know why I'm pointing with my fingers as if you can see them. Douglas Hall, which you can see on the screen right now, is a heritage building that was built in 1840 something that I can't remember right now, 1840 something. And so a lot of the buildings just don't have the infrastructure to be able to handle some of those without us doing a lot of renovations on them. So we are starting a lot of those, not starting, but we're improving a lot of those buildings this summer. But we also do provide fans in our rooms, and students are welcome to bring in any extra if they want as well. I will say the AC issue, I'm not trying to minimize it. It's only a problem for a very short window, and then the heat is what matters most, and all of our buildings are very well heated.
We are in Quebec after all.
Yeah.
Let's see. And another question about in the rooms, can you have a coffee maker in your room?
So our only rule really is that we don't allow exposed elements. So for example, if you have a kettle or something that's like a Keurig machine, we're totally okay with that because again, there's no exposed element. But anything that does have an exposed element has to be kept in the shared kitchens and common room spaces. So a Keurig, for example, that doesn't have an exposed element, or a kettle that has an automatic shutoff valve that again isn't an exposed element, we're okay with, but we don't allow things like toasters, microwaves, hot plates, anything like that in any of our rooms themselves, with the exception of, again, the buildings that have communal kitchens. So that would be any of the shared houses, any of the modern dormitory buildings, all of them. If you want to bring them in and share them with the other folks that are in your community, you're welcome to do so. What I would say is wait until you're here, especially to bring any of those, because for example, if you're moving into like 510 Pine and there's 13 people there, you don't want 13 microwaves. You don't want 13 toaster ovens. So I would wait until you're here, see what everybody else has brought, and then start investing together in whatever other things. But if there is something specific that you want to keep in your room, just make sure that it's not an open element.
Sure. Thank you. Another question about heat. I think there may be some people worried a little bit about the cold. So, how does the heat work in the sense that do students have control? Can they turn on the heat at all times? Can they adjust their thermostat? How does that work in the different buildings?
So depending on the building that you're in, so the modern dormitory style building, so I'm in New Residence Hall here, as you can see. New Residence Hall, Care for Sherbrooke, and La Citadel all have thermostats in the room that you can control. So that's both for AC and for heat. In the traditional dormitory buildings, we turn the heat on, and we kind of do it based on what the weather is in the city. So there is policy within the government of Quebec that you have to turn the heat on by November 15th. We usually do so much earlier. We do so based on our own staff that work and live in all of our buildings, that when we see that it's starting to get cold, we match the heat accordingly. I will say, depending on where you're coming from in the world, the Montreal weather can either be really, really nice or really, really poorly, but we do our best to try and accommodate it to our students' needs. And so if we get enough people saying like, hey, this building is still really cold, we'll adjust it accordingly. Or, hey, it's way too hot in here, again, we'll do so. But in the tradition or in the modern dormitory style building, students can adjust it and control it themselves.
Great, thank you. So that's a great segue actually to we had a few questions. A lot of universities have like RAs that live in residences. So people were wondering, what's the staffing situation like in the buildings? If students need something or have questions, who can they turn to?
So it depends on the type of question. If it's just a really general information question, how do I get to here? How do I find this? What do I do about this? We have front desks in all of our buildings, or we have front desks that are associated to certain buildings. So for example, the shared houses use Royal Victoria College, Douglas Hall, and the three upper residences use Bishop Mountain Hall as their main staffing point. We don't have either RAs or what we used to call floor fellows that live in the residences, but we do have students that are assigned to all of these buildings, some of whom are current students that are living in the building, some are upper year students, and while they don't live in the building, they are your primary point of contact. We also have something that we call residence life managers. And these are full-time staff that work overseeing the RLFs, as we call them, but are also there both as disciplinary officers, but as your primary resource for support and care in residences. So if ever you need to have some sort of link between you and the Office of the Dean of Students, or if you're concerned, or if there's ever any wellness checks that are needed, it's your residence life managers that are there, that work closely with the rest of our departments to make sure that all of our students are well looked after. We also have 24-hour what we call protection services. So it's a unique, we'll refer to it colloquially as security, but we call it protection services because they are separate from the McGill security. And they're there for anything from lockouts to overnight emergencies to really big maintenance issues that happen outside of hours. And then on top of that, so we've got RLMs, we've got residence life fellows, we've got protection services, and we've also got our own proprietary, like internal just for student housing. We've got our own maintenance team, we've got our own housekeeping teams. And so basically your lives are going to be simplified by us. So we're there to take care of the building. We're there to take care of making sure that you've got a roof over your head, that you've got food in your stomach. We take care of that so that you can focus on enjoying McGill and enjoying your studies and having a good time while you're here.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you. And I have to give a little shout out for a little personal anecdote. One time my car broke down in front of New Residence Hall, and the protection agent on duty there was the nicest guy. So there's some really lovely people working in residences to support you for sure.
McGill is just one big community. It doesn't matter if you're a staff or a student or whatever. If you're part of the greater McGill community, we all look after each other.
For sure. Let's see. So we've got some questions about the lottery and how that works. So a few people were asking, if it's a lottery, why is it we have to make rankings, and how do the rankings come into play in the lottery? How does that kind of process work?
So the way that it works, I won't get into the too technical of it, but basically the lottery works in that when the lottery runs, it assigns everybody a unique number. And it's based on that number where our system will start deciding what you get. So let's say you are lottery ranked number 1 out of 3,000. That means whatever is your first choice, you will get it. And that's why you do have to rank the buildings, because if you are getting your first choice, whatever it is that you put as your first choice is what you're going to get. And then as those buildings fill up, or buildings and room types fill up, as the lottery numbers increase in size. So number 1 is the first, number 3,000 is the last. Whatever it is that is the person whose 3,000th choice, whoever is decided as the 3,000th person, whatever is then available is whatever you will be assigned. So it is a lottery in that it is random how you are assigned a lottery number to determine what you get assigned, but it is still important to do the rankings because the rankings will determine what place you get assigned when you get a lottery number. And as a reminder, again, if you are coming in with a major renewable entrance scholarship, any entrance scholarship, then you will automatically be given a priority lottery number. So that is to say, number 1 through however many scholarship students we have, and then everybody else is put into the big pool. So the rankings are really important. Another reason that the rankings are important is because there is always the possibility that we end up with more requests for spaces than spaces we have available. So we have approximately 3,500 beds in residences. If we end up with 4,000 students who requested housing, our guarantee is that we will always make sure that every first-year student who requests housing is guaranteed a space. And what that means is that sometimes we have to increase our inventory. So we have really great relationships with a number of different properties throughout the downtown campus, one of which that we're working with this year it's been quite a few years we've been working with them, but it's a company called Campus One MTL, and they own a private building across the street from us. So they're at 420 Sherbrooke, so right between Carrefour Sherbrooke and La Citadelle. And we have 380 odd students of ours that are living in that building. And the rankings are really important as well because this is another option that could exist. And so if we are overbooked or if we get cancellations, if you are assigned to a third party property and you want to move back into our buildings, we need to know what it is that you are interested in living in so that we can assign you there as well. So the rankings are important, but again, the assignments themselves are done by lottery.
And one person was wondering, if you are a downtown campus student, is there any chance you would ever get assigned to a MAC campus residence?
No, so we only allow students to choose if they want to live at Mac or if they want to live downtown. So if you are a student that's at McDonald campus, you'll automatically get access to the McDonald campus application, and you have to request to be downtown and vice versa. If you're a downtown student, you'll automatically get access to the downtown application, and you have to specifically request to be at Mac campus. So nobody will ever be put, I was about to say it in French, au hasard, will ever randomly be
Randomly,
put
yeah.
into one of the other two buildings. Another fun fact about Quebec is that we sometimes forget English and French words, and we just kind of do both.
Conglais, we call it.
Totally.
About the Mac campus question and kind of mobility between campuses, someone recently, they've noticed that recently they saw in the news that the Mac campus shuttle will actually be cut after December, and they were wondering about that. So I can help with that a little bit. That's because
Yeah.
that shuttle has actually been filling a gap in public transportation, which will now be filled by public transportation. So the REM train will now be going out to Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue, and that is a sort of a high-speed train that operates at the frequency of a metro that will really help us to connect the Met campus to the downtown Montreal area. So that is the reason. It's not because we're going to be leaving you on your own to get there. It's because you'll have a better transportation option available. But I don't know if you have anything to add, Amanda.
I was just going to say, once you take the Mac campus shuttle and then you see what the REM is going to be like, you're going to be like, oh, why haven't you gotten rid of the Mac campus shuttle sooner? The REM is fantastic.
No more
So
traffic.
yeah, no traffic, because the Mac campus shuttle as it exists right now is really just a school bus that goes back and forth between the downtown campus and the McDonald campus, and is unfortunately subject to just general Montreal traffic. And so sometimes it can be a 30-minute ride, sometimes it can be 45 minutes, sometimes it can be an hour and a half. Whereas with the REM, it will always be, if I'm not mistaken, I think they said 25 minutes from McGill station to the St. Anne de Bellevue station. So
That'd be great.
yeah,
We're
it's
excited.
phenomenal. Yeah.
One more question about the lottery, which I missed when we were talking lottery. Just to confirm, how many choices do we rank?
So for female identifying students, you'll have 18 choices, and that's because female identifying students will have the options for the West Wing of Royal Victoria College as well as the Tower Wing. And then male identifying students will have 16 options. And that is because for every building, you also have the option of single room or double room. So for example, you would have New Residence Hall single, New Residence Hall double, Le Citadel single, Le Citadel double. And so you would rank from 1 to 16 or 18 what your preferences are.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's see. Some questions also about access to the gym. So there are some gyms available within residences. People were wondering, do you have to live in that specific residence to have access? If you live in shared housing, how does it work if you want to go to the gym?
So you do have to live in the specific building in order to access the gym of that specific building. So for example, students that are in New Residence Hall can only students that live in New Residence Hall can access the New Residence Hall gym. That being said, while there are specific gyms within the residences, there's also the McGill Athletics Center, which is on campus as well, that is available to all students. So even if you live in New Residence Hall and you like using the New Residence Hall gym, you still have access to the general McGill gym as well. So no students are really disenfranchised by that. Students that live in New Residence Hall do pay a slightly higher price, but it's because they have the extra accommodations like the gym, like the arcade, like the other services that exist in that building, where students who live in the shared housing don't pay for the services and so can't have access to it. But there are still other services that are included in your student fees that you absolutely have access to. And that includes, but is not limited to, the McGill gym.
Great. Thank you. Oh, someone was asking just about the REM. When is the REM service going to be available? I think it's spring 2026. It's this spring. I think it's going to go live is the plan.
And I think the plan is that it's going to go live this spring, but we're only closing the shuttle down in December because obviously there's going to be a transition period, especially for any time any new stations open up. And so there is a transition period. So even if the REM opens up in spring, students will still have the option of either taking the REM or still using the shuttle until it's no longer available. There's also, if you don't want to use the REM, there is still other buses that you can take from Lionel Groux Metro that will take you all the way out to the St. Anne de Bellevue or the McDonald campus as well. It's the 211, which is a beautiful ride. It goes all the way down Lakeshore. It's a beautiful, beautiful bus ride. But again, it's about an hour.
That is true. Let's see. Speaking of public transportation, someone else had a question about how does public transportation work in general for students. So you are eligible for a reduced fare Opus card, which you can actually order through Minerva, the same platform on which you will do your housing application. You'll register for your courses. And I'll just pop in the chat here um, a link to more information about that Opus card.
And if you are a student that's living in residences, if you update your address to your residence on Minerva, which you'll be asked to do anyways, you can even have your Opus card delivered directly to your residence. And that way you'll be able to get it in whatever building you're living in and start using it right away once you add fares to it.
Yeah. Lots of questions that people are wondering who missed maybe the beginning of the presentation. Will this recording be made available? Yes. So it will be made available to you. I think it will be sent by email if I'm not mistaken, but it otherwise will be available through the platform that you registered. So you should get a notification at some point that the recording's available. So that a few questions like that came up. Lots of great questions here. Let's see. Do that. Okay, another REM question, just a quick one. How often does it run? So the REM does run like a metro. So it runs kind of every day on a very regular schedule. So yeah, it is available on a daily basis once once it's open, hopefully spring 2026. Someone said the chat is not visible. Yeah, there is no chat. It's just the Q&A, but I've pinned the conversation where I've been putting some links. So if you want to look in the Q&A, you should see the links that I have been collecting here. Let's see. Otherwise, some questions about private rooms, private bathrooms. Where are those available and how does that work?
So we do have rooms that are private bedrooms with private bathrooms, and they're sort of scattered around the campus. So we definitely have some in La Citadel, Carrefour Sherbrooke, and New Residence Hall, although they aren't the majority. We also have a very small handful in the traditional dormitories, but again, we sort of prioritize those for students with any accessibility related needs. But if you feel that you are a student who does have a special requirement for them, either again, physical mobility related issues, anything that is a severe enough mental health related issue, or anything that's religious based that you do feel that you should be given the opportunity to have one of these spaces, you can just complete an accessibility request form and we'll do our best. But otherwise, it really is just first come, first served based on the lottery. And I actually, just to go back to the lottery, I just saw a couple of questions specific to the entrance scholarships for students applying. That is definitely, unfortunately, not something that I think that Annie and I can answer. Anything that has to do with scholarships or entrance bursaries should be asked to Scholarship and Student Aid Office. Especially if you're still waiting to find out whether or not you've received one, or to find out the status of one, or to find out even if you qualify for one, I would go through Scholarship and Student Aid Office as well. And I did see a question that was like, if I don't have an entrance bursary, what's my option? What's my chances of getting one of my options or one of my top choices? And the reason I did not give that statistic, and I'm not going to give that statistic, is because it changes every year. So it varies depending on what students ask for, will vary depending on what the likelihood of you getting one of your top choices are. Because, for example, if everybody wants a new residence hall single and there's only 129 of them in the building, unfortunately, we can only offer it to 129 students. But we will always do our best. And again, if you have any special requirements, do let us know about it in advance.
Great. So many good other questions. Well, I think a couple we really want to get to is people are asking about move-in dates. That is important. So when do we move in, both on the downtown and the MAC campus?
So the move-in week, so we always do a move-in week because we know that not everybody can come on the same days. So leases this year are going to start August 20th, which is a Thursday, and that gives you about a week or so before classes start, which this year I believe is August 31st.
That's right.
Yeah. You've got 11 days to get settled in, go to all of the incredible orientation events that we're offering, both in residences, but also organized by Clay. You've got lots of time to get settled in before you jump right into learning.
Yeah. So on that, someone else asked about orientation. So like Amanda said, so move-in weekend, orientation is happening right after move-in weekend. So you'll move in over that weekend, and then starting on Monday, the 24th, orientation begins. So there'll be all kinds of information sessions. There'll be faculty welcome sessions from your faculties. There'll be social events. There'll be a big services fair. Frosh will also start during that week. So lots of fun stuff going on in the week of August 24th.
You drop your bags off and we throw you into it immediately, right into the fun.
Here we go. Let's see. Oh, lots of questions also about Minerva. How do I sign into Minerva? When am I going to get access to Minerva? How does it work? So I'll also pop into the Q&A some information about that. So you should be able to log into Minerva even before you've got your McGill ID. You'll have a guest login that you should have access to. You should have received that in your sort of initial offer, I believe, from McGill, how to get your guest access to Minerva. But I'm going to pop this in here so you can refer. To how to access Minerva. And then once you do have your McGill ID, you'll be able to log in like a student, like you do to all the other McGill platforms with your McGill credentials that you'll set up once your offer has been accepted.
And again, if you have any
You,
problems navigating that, you can always reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you navigate it.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us today and all the wonderful questions. We hope we got to as many of them as possible. I know everyone had lots of great ones. If you continue to have questions that for any reason we didn't answer today, you do have our contact information up here. Both Amanda's team and my team will be super happy to continue to answer your questions if there are any burning questions that we weren't able to get to during our time today. So thanks so much again. We hope to see you in some future presentations this spring and this summer, and we're really, really excited to see you on campus this fall.
Yeah, congratulations on everybody getting accepted. And something that because I've been doing this for about 16 years now, I myself was a student at McGill. I'm going to tell you the same thing that I was told when I first started, which is that you've earned your spot here, you deserve to be here, and we're so excited to meet you in the fall and in the spring and welcome you to this phenomenal community here at McGill. So thank you all so much for joining us today, and please don't hesitate to reach out for any other questions that you have.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.